Hello, friends. A very warm welcome. And in this series, we are again going on with five answers, but try to see the standard, try to raise the level. And we'll see that we are bringing those relevant ideas or not about which we speak every time, like the way we go to temple, like the way we do our daily rituals, like the way we look for aspiration, and like the way we look forward to success. Similarly, is the goal over here. So first question says if ethics are poor at the top, that behavior is copied down through the organization. If ethics are poor at the top, that behavior is copied down through the organization. That's what it is saying. Robert Noyce is saying so. So if you have not heard this statement, then you can definitely critically analyze and interpret it through the ethical terms. And definitely it says a lot about your understanding of the behavior and the corporate or even governance setup. One bad fish pollutes the entire pond. Poor ethics constitutes capacity of work process, biased attitude, unethical conduct, which distorts and defeats the vision and mission of an organization. This is very true. Or one can say one bad fish over here means that one bad dimension, one bad element, or one bad work attribute. Insider trading and Punjab National Bank fraud worth 30,000 crore is an example of collusive corruption. Very true. Wonderful example. Very on the point. The leaders are the guiding torch for the citizens and employees of an organization to maintain ethical behavior. Regulatory bodies have been formed like SEBI, ECI, and independent judiciary. That's why recently Prime Minister's picture with former CGI on social media came under limelight. Oh, this is quite an example over here because this would not be going down very politely and very easily. So I think this could have been avoided and something else could have been here. An ethical leader would uphold the constitutional morality, code of conduct, serving fairness and just principles. Acts points includes interference of babus and husbands of female sarpanch. It got replicated in several villages that Supreme Court had to intervene. An ethical leader is shaped when the following is upheld in letter and spirit: transparency, empathic behavior, and good listener to all. I think wonderfully done, but then taking up the example of Prime Minister and also CGI's personal display of their faith, it is actually I heard on my own when I had opportunity to listen to our Honorable CGI that this was his personal domain and this had nothing to do with the judgments or the jurisprudence. This was more of an interaction with the with other public stakeholders, so there is nothing wrong in it. And he also went on to portray that his personal faith is in no way interfering into his professional work or any kind of decision making. So this example, if it is removed, then I think answer is definitely raising the bar. It is becoming sharper, it is becoming more quicker, and we have to move ahead in the same direction. The end of law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge freedom. That's very true. So historically, Vedas constituted as a law aimed to establish orderly functioning, seamless functioning. You must bring constitution. Very true. You brought it in the second paragraph, enacted by the legislature. Aspire to implement the same in due manner, where no one is left behind. The laws break the boundaries of arbitrariness and ambiguity, like the fundamental rights under Part 3 of the Constitution. Like the recent Amendment Act 2019 is not a restriction, but the flow of rights. I think very good flow, very fast. It's appreciated. Laws open the gates of freedom in an equitable manner for all citizens, though positive discrimination, affirmative action, common bias. So you could have used the space little better, rest all on track. Wealthy CEOs and founders of successful businesses around the world are increasingly pledging to give away their wealth in philanthropy. Do you think that such a move is sufficient enough to bring about a positive change in society? Critical exam. Atma said philanthropy is duty, not a charity. It is one of the ways to bring positive ripples in society along with multi-stakeholder approach and reaching the needy. As per the latest report of Niti Aayog, Shiv Nadar Foundation is the largest contributor to philanthropic activities in India. This is very true. In fact, couple of hundreds of crores are being spent every day. Positive changes, social development, infrastructure create the aid in development, especially to the last mile connectivity is very important word here. It is missing. Kokila Bain Hospital is an example. Reducing social inequality, scholarships for SC/ST and OBCs by BITS Planning Institute. Reduces government pressure on fiscal resources due to limited availability. Cater to reduce tax burden and intergenerational inequality is very true, yet it is solely not sufficient, but a tip of iceberg. Limited to education, geographic limitations, non excludable and non-rivalrous like public goods and services. Role of fiscal policy is still crucial, ensuring inclusivity and social justice. Very clearly written, very critically written. Certain elements are very much visible. One or two lines on that how other factors, if they are added to this philanthropy, then they may make a difference. Uh, political corruption, and even politics and bureaucracy nexus. And philanthropy must not remain a way, because it is a way also for many to retain monopoly and to guide and influence policies. That must not be the case, especially given the global challenges which cannot be handled alone and which are very complex to see. So I think the third answer is a little bit more general, little bit more broader, little bit more vague than the first two ones. An organization across the globe begins their AI transformation. The leap into the AI era is expected to be more challenging than any other tech that businesses have grappled. Yet, in this background, discuss concerns around fairness, transparency, and job security. Of the three factors are there: fairness, transparency, and job security. AI is not to replace us, but to augment us. It's very true. It is going to amplify our presence, basically amplify our lives. AI adoption and its ethical usage is a major cornerstone of Industrial Revolution 4.0, realigning the growth trajectory with some inherent challenges: algorithm bias, such results coding, malfunctioning, AI machine that works on feeding data, limited decision making capacity, robotic surgery lacks medical expertise, and transparency, threat of cyber attacks, IPR claims by private players, common persons unaware of blockchain coding, accountability for mistakes, replace low skill jobs and call center jobs, tier 2 and 3 regions with chatbots, minimize role of human labor in data analytics, may increase poverty and income inequality if not checked upon. So all three factors you have taken up, I think fair enough. If you are writing this answer within 7 minutes, then there is a fair chance of getting a good score, especially the Bleachy declaration that you mentioned in the end. The emphasis of Swami Dayanand Saraswati on education, social equality, and ethical values continues to influence the socio-cultural disclosure in contemporary India. Discussed with Surya Vilna, a very good example and a conceptual question. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, a visionary social reformer, understood the pulse of Indian socio-economic fabric. These ideas involving education, DAV schools, Anglo-Vedic education was propagated, modern education for social upliftment, social equality, Arya Samaj, back to Vedas, universal brotherhood, opposed child marriage, polygamy, criticized superstition, paved with rationality. Ethical values, book Satyar Prakash, power of self-discipline, self-knowledge, and virtuous life, rationality, logical thinking, gender equality. In beginning or somewhere in between, in beginning, in fact, one must have focused upon how he was forcing, and he was uh, getting his ideas through Sanatan Dharma, or one can say he was getting his ideas through Vedas. He was getting through the positive rationality of Vedas. He was getting his ideas through the ancient Hindu traditions and virtues, and he was picking those progressive traditions, though the question is not demanding, but if one is aware that certain he was a champion of Hindu nationalism, but he was the first one to speak about Swadeshi, Swaraj, Swabhasha, and he was the one who was going to speak about everything having Indianness. So amazing personality, and he was broad. He was obviously he was very progressive, and he believed in women uh, getting all the rights, and he also believed that anyone following rationality, anyone following positive ideas, anyone getting the good and the positive interpretation of Vedas is a Brahmin. So it is not by caste, but by karma or by your virtues. So this will be, moving further when we work on further assignments and further dimensions. I believe those assignments are going to make a difference. They are very, very crucial. If ethics are poor at the top, behavior is copied down through the organization. Taking example of British government of India, where ethical values are based upon top-down bureaucracy system, discriminated to native people, arbitrariness in application of law, opaque system, OSA 1929, apathetic bureaucracy throughout the system. So I think good example taken, but then seeking British government only as an organization, then it is also an example, but it is a very broad example. It is a very 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 big example. I think this may do justice, but something more could have been here, which could have been a little bit more precise and objective. That would have scored, I think, zero point 0.5 marks more. So drain of wealth, massive exploitation of resources, and then one can say that colonial rule was at the root of our all kind of evils. Still, social colonial mindset and structure remains, which are slowly replaced with the modern structure or Indianness in the structure. Independent India forced for ethical values, justice, equality, freedom, reorganization of states peacefully, correcting all India services through Civil Service Code 1960, integration of tribals under Panchil, decentralization by delinking. So too much information, I think, is being stuffed upon. It was an ethical paper 4. It is just paper 4 ethics question. So it had taken away the ethic part of it, and it is too much verbose, too much information, but well structured. I must appreciate the kind of skill which are required to bring so much information in so little time. Democratic sentiment and ethical values inculcated, transparency, RTI Act against corruption, Lokpal against arbitrariness, accessibility, Jam Trinity. So I think wonderfully written, very good written, but the score would be little bit above average, and it could have been a little lighter. But then the positive part is that so much information, such a big picture is being represented in such a way. So good effort. But score, we can't say that, very, very smartly and easily would be coming up. Second, the end of the law is not, again, the second question is not to abolish, but to, preserve and enlarge freedom. So procedure established by law focused on distributive as well as substantive justice. For example, narrow interpretation of Article 21, right to life and liberty, but due process enlarged it. And, broader interpretation of Article 21. Under this, the end of law goes on corrective and reformative justice rather than retributive justice. Community work for petty crimes and decriminalization. This is a very good example over here, but the introduction and the later part is a little longer. It could have been replaced by the philosophical move, or his philosophical ideas would have been there. Motor Vehicle Act 1988, amendment in 2019, it laid down provisions for punitive measures for not following guidelines. At the same time, it offered support to the victims in form of good Samaritan scheme, human treatment, and fair compensation. I think very good example. That is why law is there to give justice in society by focusing on objective transparency, non-arbitrariness, non-partisanship, equality in application. If this would not happen, then the end of law would be, based on bureaucratic system and justified means, top-down apathetic system, like North Korean law. This is an example of how low trust society. Every provision in laws need to have societal impact assessment, citizen friendly, reformative, EIA provisions. For example, participatory, justice, and fair due process is there in project. So I think very good examples, but then need a little bit polishing and little bit of more coherence. But I think wonderful examples as far as one is able to make other person understand that how a motor vehicle act, that amendment example, and the other one is very good, but then uh, could have been little slower. I mean, so could have been a little bit more simpler. But I think good approach overall. Again, wealthy CEOs about philanthropy, pledging their wealth away, their wealth for philanthropy. Do you think such a move is significant enough? So several business leaders and founders directly engaged in philanthropy, like Tata Trust, Vinod Khosla Trust, Melinda Gates Foundation, Ford Foundation, Ajim. It's a very good start of the answer. The answers are having good enriched material. That is one takeaway is there. So positive change, taking the leadership example by CSR activities, building trustship relationship, that is giving back to society, including spirit of beyond government approach. Ashoka University built on endowment. Wonderful examples. I think this answer is one of the fabulous ways to write. Specialization and targeted investment in human projects, HPV, human papilloma virus by Melinda Gates Foundation. Promoting spirit of service before self in the society. Tata Trust contribution is another example. So limitations are there. Their reach and specific targets are there. Sometimes there is a partnership or brand management, as I just said. Donor biasness may also be there, and administrative cost sometimes more than the project which was created. For example, there are examples of bureaucratization of NGO. So the role of the government along with NGOs and philanthropy is making a great impact. So this answer is one of the best and very, very, very fabulous and a speed answer, one would say, can be a role model for rest of the answers. Similarly, if I go again to go with the idea of how AI transformation is there with respect to fairness, transparency, and job security. So under GPI summit, ethical and responsive AI was given stress upon by the all participant countries. It happened in India only, if I'm correct. Facial recognition, LLM, and use of drones, remote, and then blockchain in finance, chatbot, driven support service, traffic security management. Similarly, there are several uh, concerns. For example, tectonic shift in AI affecting labor, productivity, and unemployment, transparency issues in algorithm and data bias, affecting the quality of result. IT ministry flagging dictator tag in the editing or in work in Gemini AI. It was a data security challenge faced by big corporation and massive collection of repository data on consumer, monopolization of Google or Apple flagged by the US also and by CCI. And then you have example of inadequate capacity building of vulnerable countries regarding adoption of AI architecture. Following ways can be adopted: internationalization of governance, like Bushra direction, declaration, EU. AI Act and drafting AI Shilling Hackathon, National AI Mission, and Data and Research Security. Again, DPDP Act. So wonderful ideas, but very, very strong. And I think a little bit more practice will just make it a little streamlined. Otherwise, very enriched and lot of comprehensive information. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, revivalist, reformer, social radical ideas, socio-cultural discourse, education for all, vernacular, and inspiration RT Act 2006 is a very good example. Article 21A, three language policy in NEP 2020, role of private endowment, establishing education institution through DAV. So more enriched and more philosophical than the first answer. Ideas like religious teaching based on Vedas, tweaked to voluntary moral science, part of civics. Okay. Little bit going here and there also in social equality, fought for breaching monopoly of priesthood by inclusion of marginalized section of society. Wonderful point. Inclusion of women in ritual social equality like widow remarriage, call for universal franchise, abolition of child marriage. Some ideas are followed even today, like abolition of untouchability and positive discrimination. So good connectivity, very good ideas. But some areas like Ghar Wapsi or Shuddhikaran is not approved under Article 26. In ethical values, Swami Dhanaswati was bold reformist who led from front and who went on to put ideas of Arya Samaj, that is institutional, he was an institutional builder, focused on Arya Samajist marriage and work. Satyar Prakash shows the spirit of pluralism, liberty of individual and inspiration. So I think examiner is going to look forward that what kind of ideas are pitching up. So from that sense, I think both set of answers are trying to break the barriers and they are moving forward. Importance of ethical behavior among the people at the top. Okay, Mugabe of Zimbabwe and Mandela of South Africa both suffered from colonialism. Both ethical truth and reconciliation of Mandela made the entire country effective achieving growth, but Zimbabwe supported due to its unethical and corrupt leadership. I think wonderful example, keeping it very simple, to the point, very objective. Ethical leadership install a healthy workplace culture, emanating spirit of transparency, innovation. Example, ethical conduct of Vikram Sarabhai, and even Satish Dhawan and Abdul Kalam, that are making ISRO the dream for India, and they were able to realize so many things, including Chandrayaan 3. Parents and elders occupying a higher ethical position passes on similar values. Parents and families imbibing racism, casteism, patriarchy reflect the same in children, but virtues transposed through parents. For example, Sudha Murthy notes the role of her parents in righteous parenting in number of books what she had written. Success of Montreal Protocol is because of unwavering commitment of top leaders. So I think again here examples are there, but so easily and so simply they are being put up that you are easily able to relate with them. That is why it is going to get more score. The strength of India lies in the ethics of its constitution, making people to believe and everyone to believe in democracy, ideals of equality. Hence, people at the top have higher moral values, a moral compass to bestow on their successors with ethical virtues. I think wonderfully written. Good marks. Again, the end of the law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge. Let's see the true goals of law, which should be a medium of emancipator. See the phrase and the forerunner of liberty rather than be coercive. So, Lord Acton, we may not be knowing, but liberty is a dictate, delicate fruit of matured civilization. A matured civilization understands that law should not prevent people from practicing their freedom, rather help them to grow. As in Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras, Supreme Court highlighted the essence of freedom of press for a mature liberal democracy. We may not be writing the case name, but the ideas definitely can be written in a more simple, subtle, but a forceful way. In case of homosexuality, that was coming to my mind also when we were reading the first set of answers, but I couldn't bring it. Approves of same-sex marriage must have been mentioned by the previous two answers also, which is missing. True ideals of law that should create safe space for individuals in India, Nalsa versus UI, transgender rights, Navtej Jauhar, decriminalizing homosexuality, Taliban at an extreme end is the representative tyrannical despot that undermines equality and liberty of women. But with legislation like POSH Act and measures like Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, India shows the way. Michael Foucault notes the changing state of democracy that shifts from repressive to restitutive punishment as seen in Bachit Singh versus UI. So quite clarity, may not be everyone writing like this, but then we have to bring something of higher standard and not making it too complex. Although Aristotle notes uh, that ethical people do not require laws, but laws should be instrument for self-realization and social development. Again, coming to philanthropy idea, be the change you want to see in the world. Various views. Again, he's also bringing Gandhi, like the way previous answer was also bringing ethical capitalism and income equality are showing the way, including Bill Gates, Ajit Premji, and so on. So positive outcomes, wealth redistribution is there. Article 39B of DPSP and SEG10 inspire people to pursue philanthropy, discourages material wealth and materialistic attitude. Maximum reciprocity is a very good phrase. belief one that one she has got better because of others. It is her responsibility to pay. Ethical capitalism gets manifested, but this is not sufficient to achieve a positive change. Proportion of philanthropy is minuscule compared to well generated. I agree with that. Accused of greenwashing, we discuss about that also. Reaffirm the belief that only rich can be philanthropy. That is also there. Used as chronic capitalistic move to create false brand image. We also discuss that, but not in this way. Lack of monitoring of such funds is there. Core issues remain discrimination, and so understanding of the topic is very very important. Kant's categorical imperative appreciates philanthropy. One must be careful about its outcome and consequences. Coming again to the idea that how AI and transparency, job security, and apart from that, fairness will be there. So Accenture notes that AI can add US 1 trillion to India's economy by 2035, but economic growth without equality, ethics, and engagement becomes fruitless. I think again, punch to the point. Concerns first, like the way we did also, fairness, algorithms are biased since they are fed on data. We also discussed that Amazon's AI recruitment system discarded systematically women because historical data and low women participation. Okay, one can also create such kind of example. Caste creates divides in the form of digital apartheid. Very good line utilized by few. Only 29% of women in India are with digital literacy. Transparency, issues of data privacy, and need to of data security. Constant use of data and surveillance evade the personal freedom, as the illustration Manohar Sharma versus Union of India case. AI algorithms are they are linked, or they are seen to be the black box, so there is lack of transparency in its utilization. Job security, OECD 20%, 27% of the current jobs can be automatically replaced by AI. Blue collar jobs and few white collar jobs are under threat. We discussed that. Leads to non democratization of technology, again a good phrase, where only super elite like consultants and scientists get hegemony. As CGI Chandrachud notes, technology like AI can bring social justice but can deepen divides and insecurities also at the same time. Swami Dhanasastri is the pioneer. We discussed that, cultivating socio-religious transformations with a rich legacy. Views on education led to DAV schools. We discussed that. Dayanand Hansraj, that culminated traditional Vedic and modern. Even then, Hansraj is not a correct word, but still marks will be given because of the whole overall process. That means if we are even forgetting certain key word, but then our intention is right, then score is also there. Arya Samaj founded in Bombay, 1875, upliftment of poor against social evils like parda, caste, untouchability, idol worship, and such idols are needed for contemporary India. And mm, it is also what we can say back to Vedas. We call Dayanand Saraswati, uh, emphasized on old glory of India, similar to PM Modi's call for March Pran on Independence Day. So good connectivity. Reconfigured patriotism, I told you, inspired people, Swadesh, Swabhasha, Swaraj, selflessness, community welfare, where the main ethos can be seen in practice of Langar, like Khalsa, aid and disaster relief. So question is not demanding his backward or Shuddhikaran, all those kind of ideas. So he is not bringing those ideas, but he is trying to, bring the positive aspects of the it and also relate it with the answer. So and final line is about Dayanand Saraswati, that how he went on to reinterpret everything. So what do you say?
So I would focus more on simplified way of writing and the connectivity with the contemporary ideas, as the last question was demanding that. So I couldn't do that in that similar demanded way. And so like writing more of impactful
Correct.
examples. So
And vocabulary. If one is not able to, even bring the what judiciary was saying, one can definitely bring certain books, certain persons, certain events, certain principle. I think it all depends on what is your mindset. I think answer coming over here starts with the mind, starts with the approach, and not with the facts. It is actually what kind of approach, what kind of intensity, and what kind of values are you carrying in mind at that moment. For example, if one speaks about again that law is not there for a coercive way, but it is actually uh, to make sure that the people are actually able to enjoy their freedom, or it is actually reinterpreted in a way where they really enjoy and being happy. So definitely, I would be even writing starting with the constitution only. The interpretation of constitution is evolving. It is called a living book. It is called living document. Why? Because it is able to correlate with society, it is able to correlate with the people lives. There are so many judgments, including reservation, PRI. I would be bringing the idea of PRI, Panchayati Raj institutions. I would also be bringing Bharatiya, these three laws which have just come up, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Suraksha Adhiniyam, and all that, those three laws which had been implemented. I would also be writing about how RTE came into being, beginning from 1950s, and reservation for OBCs, and then how you have midday meal scheme and RTE, and even the idea of uh, so many ideas which are there in DPSPs. All of them are like that. So much can be written without making it so complex and showcasing that what kind of knowledge do you carry. So I think the set two of the question was missing this aspect. It was too much information based. So that can backfire also in some ways. In philanthropy also, one could be little bit more critical in a smart way, like the way third question was there. It was very appropriate. He was able to bring greenwashing. He was able to bring the idea of, crony capitalism, or the idea of welfareistic based capitalism. We have to generate our own vocabulary also on the spot. We must be so confident. That is the only way. And the answer, AI, it was fair enough for everyone. But then again, how much you write and how you put it up, that is very important, because it is an open and evolving idea. We have to see what Nobel Prize winner is saying, what the biggest of the big institutes are saying. You can write, like, you can always write report by Harvard University, report by Niti Ayog, report by other intellectuals or philosophers. Even Gita, Bhagavad Gita, it is a timeless journey. So what those values, how AI is going to gel with our own culture and ideas? How AI is going to coexist? So will India be able to coexist with its own values and with AI also? No country is as diverse and as amazing as India. Every 1 week there is a festival going on in some part of India. Every 1 week. Which country in the world is having so? And every legend, every festival in India is having its own story. You speak about the Hornbill Festival in Nagaland, which is showcasing that tribal and also glorious heritage of each tribe. The festival, in fact, reflects that. The village where it is happening, it becomes itself is a ecosystem. Think
Yes.
about Futkar Mela. Think about पटना के पास फेयर होता है. Think about Gangor fair. Think about local like Baba Haridas. Think about Shitla Mata fair. So we have to bring very, very simple, but at the same time smart and objective ideas. Continuing with the same process through different workshop ideas, writings, and continuing the journey, we will make sure that we implement them uh, on a very fast track base. Thank you very much.